Next, I'm honored to introduce our second speaker, Cheryl Lee. Cheryl Lee is praised by clients as being a strategic, business-centric attorney. She has also been involved in many Korean American advocacy initiatives, being a true leader in the Korean American community. Please welcome Cheryl Lee with a warm round of applause.
Great, thank you very much. Well, thank you so much. I know that was not expected, but I like that welcome. Well, again, I have to echo YB. I have been so impressed with Esther and the planning committee and the KSA officers. You guys know how to plan a career symposium. It's really, really impressive. Again, kudos to all of you, and thank you so much, and I'm super excited about what you guys are going to be working on. So, as for the title of my talk, generally I could talk for an hour, okay? Trust me, I won't talk an hour. And please let me know when my time is up, okay? Because I could go on forever. But as for a title, I'm like, what do I do? So I thought, well, you guys want to talk about career. So it's really from engineering, life's pivot points. Many people say, oh my God, Cheryl, you've done so many things. I was a mechanical engineer. That was my undergraduate here. By the way, I'm a triple husky. And then, yeah, woohoo! And then I was into local politics. So you're looking at a local politician. I also had a stint in a small little software company called Microsoft. There's a little photo hinted that YB shared. Got some connection there. And then I decided to become a lawyer. And then I also had a stint in leading a nonprofit organization. And so everybody says, oh my God, Cheryl, you've done so many amazing things, right? And I said, yeah, fine. But some people could say, well, lady, do you know what the hell you want to do with your life when you grow up? Versus, okay, yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. So to me, that's what engineering life's pivot points is about. Before I talk a little bit further, can I just know my audience a little bit? How many of you guys are freshmen? Wow, man, you guys have got your act together. Sophomores? Wow. Juniors? Oh, pretty good. Seniors? Man, where the hell are they? YB. Wow, one senior. Oh man, I need to have a talk. Well, maybe they're busy getting ready for their interviews and doing their research. But no, this is good to know, and I think you guys are very smart for making the time to be here. Just a side story. When I was in business school, MBA, there's always amazing speakers that were coming into school every day. There were two classes of people. One, I was like, oh, I gotta do my study. I gotta go to the library. I gotta study. I gotta get ready for the exam. And there was another group that said, forget school, man. I gotta go I gotta meet YB because I'm interested in this presentation, right? And so really, I look at my classmates. Those that took time to really network well are doing amazing. Just keep that in mind. That is so important, right? And so for me, to talk a little bit about my career, as I said, I'm a triple husky. I apologize. I didn't have much time to put into my slides either. I was in fact working on it when I got here, so I do apologize. But since this is University of Washington, I kind of pivoted around my 3 degrees, okay? Trust me, degrees don't define what you do, but that's what I decided to pivot around, right? So I started as a mechanical engineer. You're like, oh my God. So when I was 7, my parents immigrated, and we landed in Seattle. So I was the oldest of 4 kids. And I don't know if many of you resonate with this immigrant story, but we were in survival mode. We're in a 1-bedroom apartment. My grandma came with us so that she could babysit us. So I'm the oldest of 4 kids. The youngest baby sister was only 6 months. All right, so it was tough. So I grew up, I studied hard, like a good girl should do. And I thought, gosh, what am I gonna do when I go to college, right? And I started thinking about different careers. I had no idea what an engineer did. I still don't quite figure it out. I haven't figured it out yet. But I found out as sophomore or junior year in high school, boy, engineering, the ratio of the guys to girls is incredible. Meaning in mechanical engineering, of all the engineering schools, right? Out of 100 people in a class, maybe there's 1 or 2 girls. Okay, that's mine. I'm going there. That was how I decided, right? And by the way, I'm still single and not married. I don't have any kids. But, again, everybody has their reasons, right? And that's what I did. But really, fundamentally, for me, it's like, hell, man, if a guy can do it, why can't I do it? That was my attitude. And so, if Johnny and Chersu, they could do it, I could do it. So I went to University of Washington, I graduated, got my mechanical engineering degree, and went to work for this company called Boeing. And a really cool story I have is that, I don't know, many of you guys know Asiana Airlines? They're now merging with Korean Air, but I helped launch Asiana Airlines. You guys are thinking, man, she's old. Their first airplane, 747, I was on that flight, and I got to fly to Korea as part of that inaugural maiden voyage. And so a lot of great stories there. Well, I was an engineer there. My Korean background, my father, when I was growing up, he forced us to speak Korean at home. Oh, we hated our parents. They were the meanest, right? Like during summer vacation, my dad made us write like in Korean so that we can keep the language. But boy, when I got to Boeing, my Korean came in so handy. I was working with Asiana, I was working with Korean Air, I was like flying over there to take care of issues. There's tons of wonderful stories that I can tell you. But the fact that I understood not only the language, but the culture, because of my parents, right? Respect, understanding broken English. Because many of the Korean people, and I also work with Japan Airlines, All Nippon Airways, they all came to, Boeing and have the meetings. Some of my white peers could not understand. So you know what white folks do when they can't understand? They talk louder. What was that again, Mr. Chang? Right? Instead of really trying to listen and speak. And so that really helped me a lot. When I started at Boeing, I knew I'm a people person. So another tip, know what you like to do. Know what drives you. So I'm driven by people, as you can tell. I love the energy that I'm getting from you guys. I feel like I'm gonna get about 10 years younger because of you guys, right? And so I love working with people, and I said, you know what? I chose engineering because I wanted to challenge the status quo. If boys can do it, I can do it. But ultimately, I want to work with people. I'm not gonna be sitting at a desk punching my calculator. So I said, within 5 years, I'm gonna go get my MBA. So that was my goal. I had it in place. But something came along the way, and, I decided to run for office. So in 1997 or 1995, there's a small city called Shoreline. Have you guys heard of it? Right north of Seattle? Yeah. So I went to Shoreline School District there, and I grew up there, and I was working at Boeing. And the city incorporated, a brand new city. So here's an opportunity. I thought, how many living person could say, I built a city in my lifetime? So I said, hell, I'm gonna run, right? But again, that's a joke side of me. The other side of it is that after the LA riots, right, our Korean American community, they were depressed. They needed political empowerment. And I felt like, what an opportunity for me to get involved in building something brand new, like a brand new city, but also lifting up our Korean community so that they can get more involved. Why? Because we're not living in Korea. We are Americans. We need to take ownership. And so that's why I ran. And I served 2 terms, and when I ran, I was, geez, I'm gonna reveal my age here, but I was in my mid-20s, okay? And I was the youngest Asian American elected to office. So it was really impressive. Again, by me being there, the local community just stepped up. And as a result, our Korean American community today, they get involved, they vote, they participate in fundraising for politicians. And later on, I helped organize and found an organization called KC Washington. Sam Cho, who's going to moderate it, is the current president. But we helped register over 4,000 Korean American voters in Washington State, and that's political empowerment. So I'm really proud that I did that. So instead of going to my MBA, I took a little detour. See, I don't know what the hell I want. And then, after that, sorry. Can you put it in play? I got a little too excited. One more, back. So then I realized, wait a minute, I was gonna get my MBA. So I was still working at Boeing, and one day I said, if I don't do this, I'll never do it. So I quit cold turkey and applied and came back to University of Washington and did my MBA. And then what I did there was that many engineers back then, they did part-time. They went to school in the evening, and then they worked in the daytime. I said, you know what? I don't want that tether. Because what you have to do is you have to then come back to Boeing and be there for 2 years, or else you had to pay up for all the tuition. I said, forget it. So I quit Boeing cold turkey. My father almost had a heart attack. Because you know how Korean parents are. You go to Boeing, you go to Microsoft, you get to these big companies, you're set. But I quit, and I went and I did the MBA at University of Washington. And then you know what? When I graduated, I did not have a job. Can you believe it? And so, of course, my parents were worried. But you know what? There's a company called Microsoft. And during my business school, I didn't interview at all. I mean, and they weren't interested. Like, McBoney engineer, why would be? And this is the year, before when most of you were born, it's when the tech boom was happening, right, Ivy? In 2000, 2001. And so, but I went to an event. It was a community event where Vice President of Microsoft by the name of Brian Valentine. Do you remember Brian Valentine? He was the keynote speaker. Well, I was back then a city council member, and I had to talk about community service. 2 minutes? Do I have 2 minutes? Good. Somebody better keep time, or else I can talk forever, okay? And so at that meeting, after the vice president of Microsoft, he oversaw over 5,000 people, I went up and spoke. I said, ladies and gentlemen, serving your community is so important. But I also threw some jokes at the vice president and talked about it. And afterwards, he said, so Cheryl, what are you going to do when you're done with politics? I don't know. Nobody's taking me. Maybe Microsoft will. And you know what he said? Send me your resume. And so I waited a few days. And I said, Brian, really nice meeting you. Attaches my resume. And if you're just going to, send it off to some people, forget it. That's fine. But if you're really going to do something with it, please let me know. And here it is. And you know what? I later found out he personally reached out to several departments and said, here's a really cool person. We think she'll be a great person for Microsoft. Now, despite that, I had to interview 10 hours to get that job. But what I'm saying is seize the opportunity in the moment. You never know. So just because you don't get a job when you're done with graduating doesn't mean you're not going to get it. There's tremendous opportunities there, right? So I went to go work for Microsoft. And again, my Korean heritage, my Korean language, my understanding of the culture was tremendous help. There was one product that nobody knew about. We were only doing $150 million. You know what? I helped grow it by 500% within 1 year because I knew, like companies like Japan, like Japanese people, they needed to have products in their own language. So I talked to engineers and I got it ready and it really grew and it became $1 billion business, okay, system server, right? And then my father passed away in 2006. And I was like, shit, people do die. Sorry, I swear to. And it dawned on me that, yeah, we do die. I went to so many funerals, but yet people die. And when it was your parent, it was real hard. Many of you guys may not know this, maybe it is you know. But then I said, what am I going to do with my life? And I wanted to live a life that's impactful and influential. Do you see, every decision I make, there's a theme here, okay? And I knew that American society, we're such a litigious society. Lawyers, we love to hate, hate to love, but it's fundamental. And also during this time, I was doing a lot of work in the community, surveying, and some people I talked to, like I wanted to get some advice on how do I help our community, and they said, oh, you gotta go talk to a lawyer. Oh man, everybody I talked to, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to law school. So that's what I did. So I quit Microsoft cold turkey, right? At Microsoft, 2.5 years, I went to Singapore and worked there, and I came back to go to law school. I went to University of Law School. Again, after law school, I had no job. Okay, I had no job. But I knew, I wasn't fretting. There's a lot of story here, but at law school, first year in law school, this last story I'm going to tell, my talk is all over the place, but first year in law school, there was a Korean American business owner, okay? They bought their deli business for $300,000 in cash in 2007, okay? And they were operating. They didn't realize when they bought it, there's a little clause in their lease that said, landlord can kick you out any day with a 30-day notice. Can you imagine somebody paying $300,000 in cash? In today's value, it's almost $1 million. But they didn't know. And so they were very popular business owners. And in that building, so many lawyers were there. It's in downtown Exchange building. All the lawyers looked at all the paperwork and everything. And they realized there's nothing they can do to help them. But I found out about this. Like, okay, thank you, 1 minute, I'll finish. I found out about this. And you know what? I started pulling all the stops. I posted on Facebook. I sent emails to all my friends, my connections, my community supporters. I said, I want you to email the landlord. I want you to call this guy and tell them this is not acceptable. And when I did that, a good friend of mine from King 5 TV did a story on King 5. Her name is Elisa Hahn, and she's very, very good. And said, Cheryl, I want to do a story. I said, go do it. And when King 5 covered this and said it, and then we sent it to their headquarters. There's a big company called Beacon Capital that used to own the Columbia Tower. Okay? And so then I said, let's meet. Because they knew it was bad PR. You know, what are you guys doing preying on Asian people who don't speak language? And so the managing director came, and this was my first year in law school. I met, and I brought a couple other people to meet and said, look, you guys, I'm a first-year law student, okay? I know what the law said, but you know what? Sometimes that is not everything. You gotta do the right thing. Can you believe it? Yeah, right. And then, you know what? They moved the tenants to Columbia Center, gave them all the help, half the lease rate, and they just flourished. So what it taught me as a lawyer is that, you know what? Just the four corners of the law is not everything. All the things that you see on like law and order, that's not everything. It's about how you apply your life experiences. So any of you who are interested in becoming a lawyer, come talk to me, I'll tell you. But one thing that I would advise you is don't go to law school in your 40s, okay? Go to law school a little bit earlier. And having life experience is fantastic. So I look forward to sharing with you a lot more about some of my experiences, but I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.